Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Knives. It's your host Fletcher, and today we are doing a first impression of the Civivi Praxis. This is one of the few Christmas gifts I got this year that I actually know the price of. There's a few I know the ballpark of. This guy was on sale for $37.50. I believe it's $42 right now. This guy is in, let's see if you can see that, 9CR 18 MOV. Here you can see it there. You can barely make it out. It's got G10 handles, I believe stainless steel liners, deep carry pocket clip. This is made by Civivi, so it is an import. It's Chinese made. And this guy is just phenomenal. It's large, yes, but I actually got a chance to use it a lot today. It was one of my first presents I opened up on Christmas, and I just had a chance to use it on a lot of boxes. I handed it off to people. Now, one thing people did say is, man, that's a big knife. Yes, it is a big knife. As you can probably see in my hands, that is a pretty big blade. I don't have the large, I probably have a size large glove. If not, I'm very tight in a size medium, so what would you call that? Marge, mediarge, maybe? Size glove, something like that. And this guy's actually pretty comfortable. So guys with big hands, big mittens, I think you'd like the Praxis. Flips rather well. And hey, Civivi makes a mini Praxis. So for anyone with smaller hands, you don't quite want a large knife, or maybe for legal reasons, you need a blade under 3 inches. The Civivi mini Praxis is pretty sweet. Basically, it's almost a full flat on this guy, but it gets nice and thin because they don't start with super thick. Let's see if I can show you guys how thin that is. There's a choil there. Kind of see how thin that blade is. And the blade stock's probably 0.9 to 0.09 to 0.1 inches. I mean, that's a pretty good place to be in terms of blade stock. The tip's thin, you know, but not... Maybe if I pop it out. Yeah, see, tip's thin, but not too thin. The bearings on Civivis are always good. Yeah, no side to side. If there was, it was slight, and I've been playing with it, so I probably just need to Loctite the screw. The pocket clip's in a good position. Because it's a big knife, it just kind of doesn't... You would think there's a hot... Like, I can feel it here, but no hot spot when I'm gripping it. And then you can always do the choil, and then definitely you can feel the pocket, like you acknowledge the pocket clips there, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna rub you and then give you a blister. The factory edge wasn't super toothy, but it's performing pretty well on tape today. I'm definitely going to, sorry about the definitely need to stop saying trying to do pauses instead of uhs. It's something that's pretty hard to do, but it is definitely a habit that is hard to break for anyone who does public speaking. And definitely something, when someone does public speak, you always advise them not to do. So the edge on this guy was kind of over-polished from the factory, I felt like, or it just didn't have the bite that I'm used to from a factory edge. So when I'm sharpening it, I will probably do maybe 1,000 grit edge. Be interesting to see what 600 would be on 9CR. 9CR is sort of an analog for 440C. I think it's got slightly more chromium, hence the 18 for the CR, although if it's a half percentage, they might round up. But I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a Chinese analog for 440C. So it would definitely be interesting to see how this guy performs versus it. It is kind of hard to find 440C on USA-made knives nowadays, though. So I might have to search around or see if there's a company who even maybe like Civivi does a good heat treat on 440C. Even if it's not USA-made, but, you know, made reputably, that I could compare to this guy. It would definitely be interesting to see how they do. I had several people, when I showed a Shaman on here, basically compare this to a Shaman. I kind of get where they're coming from, but also I don't. I mean, I think the Shaman definitely has better ergos because it doesn't have the flipper. And I definitely think that This ridge here kind of throws off what the Shaman has in terms of ergos. The Shaman is like one continuous line because it's based off the native 5, whereas because of the slope here, it's kind of uncomfortable to put your your thumb somewhere else. You definitely could, and then the flipper kind of obscures, so you don't get like the Shaman where you can kind of just grip it and rip it, because the flipper's there. You can definitely grip it pretty hard, but there's not that neutral area that the Shaman has kind of going all the way down. So Shaman-esque, Shaman-esque, but definitely not close enough to the genuine article to confidently compare. You could say it is similar, but definitely not same in terms of ergonomics. And I would say slightly similar. I'd say this hump here makes it have a pretty big difference, along with the fact that it kind of shallows out here instead of continuing on the curve like the Shaman does. Deep carry clip's good. Held well in my pocket. That's interesting. That little G10 they milled out here. I will see what kind of cord I can get through that. I don't think I'm going to be able to get 550 through that hole. I just think it's too small, so I'll have to use maybe a smaller gauge of paracord. I do like the choil. Oops. I do like the choil for sure. I think it's a welcome addition, especially on a large knife like this. The grind is good. The centering's good. The action's great. Basically, Civivi mode nailed basically a lot of things on this knife, even the ergonomics. I just think the hump, I think even if the jimping was a little bit more back here, and then this was kind of more of a steady curve instead of jumping up and then like jumping up here and then jumping back down. I think if they kind of just made it more of a curve like the Shaman, it'd be more ergonomically viable. And I definitely think if you got rid of the flipper and maybe did thumb studs, it would feel more like a Shaman, but I think the flipper's nice to have because the flipper basically acts as a handguard when you're really cutting, like you're really gripping it, and it doesn't get in the way of the path. Otherwise, they'd have to use a hole here, and then it would definitely be kind of like a clone, like a Shaman clone. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Don't forget about that notification bell. Go ahead and turn that on if you don't have it on. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay sharp.